Have you ever felt that you were born carrying a weight you did not choose? A pain that seems to have been written into your destiny even before you took your first step in this world? Perhaps you have never spoken this out loud, but deep in your soul you know. Your life has never been ordinary. While others experienced the lightness of easy paths, you were led into deserts. While they celebrated immediate achievements, you faced losses without explanation. While they felt at home in this world, you always carried the sense of not belonging anywhere. This is the mark of the chosen ones, an invisible mark that weighs upon the heart, a mark that cannot be removed because it was written by God Himself. But along with this mark also comes a profound mystery. Why do the chosen suffer so much in silence? This question has consumed your nights. It has made you cry alone when no one was around. And what answer did you receive? Silence. A silence that seems to crush the soul. A silence that makes you think God has forgotten you. But here is the mystery that almost no one reveals. This silence is part of a forgotten prophecy. Silence as an invisible sword. Imagine a sharp sword piercing the heart, yet leaving no visible marks. This is the silence of God in the life of the chosen. It is not about an absence of answers, but a hidden presence that shapes, sharpens, and separates. The world looks and says, "You don't have enough faith." But it is not a lack of faith. It is an excess of calling. The chosen do not receive the common path because they were not made for the common. They are forged in invisible territories, where every tear is training, and every silence is a secret code. Losses that carry secrets. Those who are chosen lose early. They lose friends. They lose relationships. They lose opportunities that once seemed certain. But these losses are not accidents. They are signs. Every person who walked away without explanation was, in truth, removed by God before they could destroy your essence. Every closed door was a detour that prevented you from being crushed by a weight you could not carry. But at the moment of loss, that does not comfort. In the moment of loss, the pain screams. You ask, why me? Why always me? And the answer is still silence. Yet this silence carries the mystery of the forgotten prophecy. A prophecy that declares, the chosen would be wounded to learn how to heal, rejected to learn how to love, broken to learn how to restore. Rejection as a mark of separation. If there is something the chosen know well, it is rejection. No matter how much they try to fit in, there is always an invisible wall. You may strive to be accepted, but something inside of you will always be too different. This rejection is not punishment, it is separation. Heaven does not allow you to be accepted by everyone, because the calling you carry cannot be diluted by the world's approval. You must walk alone, because solitude is the school where God teaches the secrets that are not revealed in crowds. Few understand the weight of solitude. You can be in a room full of voices. You may even laugh and distract yourself, but inside you there is an empty space that nothing can fill. It is as if your soul is always searching for something greater. This solitude is not an emotional flaw. It is spiritual evidence. It proves that you were not born to be satisfied with the little the world offers. It reveals that your thirst can only be quenched at the eternal source. But until that happens, you carry the burden of silence. And that burden is heavy, the invisible wound of the chosen. You may even hide your tears, but your soul bleeds. It bleeds when you see others reaching what seems to slip away from you. It bleeds when you realize that no one understands your inner battles. It bleeds when you cry out to God, and He seems silent. But this invisible wound is precisely the sign of your election, because only the chosen are led to feel the pain that cannot be healed by anything earthly. This wound forces you to seek something beyond, to lean into the mystery, to desire an answer that does not come from the earth, but from heaven. The forgotten mystery. There is a forgotten prophecy, hidden in the shadows of history, that speaks of the chosen ones. It says they would be treated as strangers in the world, that their lives would be marked by deserts, that their path would be filled with invisible cuts. But this same prophecy also says that the silence that wounds today is the same silence that prepares. You do not suffer because God has forgotten. You suffer because He remembers too much. You are not invisible. You are kept. You are not rejected. You are set apart. And here is the key that opens the first veil of the mystery. The pain of the chosen is not a sign of abandonment. What you have carried until now has not been in vain. Every silence, every hidden tear, every inexplicable loss, all of it is part of a greater story. You were not born to walk as everyone else. You were born marked, and that mark sets you apart. Many have looked at your life and thought, he has no luck, she can't seem to win, nothing ever works out. But what they do not know is that there is an invisible decree over you, a decree not written with human ink, but with the breath of the eternal. And this decree is the forgotten prophecy. The chosen would be kept in silence, hidden in pain, until the time of revelation arrived. The world sees suffering as defeat, but in the kingdom of God, the logic is reversed. The pain of the chosen is a path to authority. The silence of the chosen is a field of training. The desert of the chosen is a laboratory of miracles. While the world feeds on quick answers, heaven moves slowly and deeply. For what is built in haste crumbles, but what is forged in silence becomes eternal. You were called to carry what cannot be explained in manuals. You were set apart to live truths that are not learned in books. And this is the secret of the forgotten prophecy. The chosen are trained in invisible territories to later manifest signs the world cannot deny. Why you suffered more? Perhaps you look back and see a line of pain, rejections, broken friendships, closed doors, sleepless nights, the silence of God. And you ask yourself, why me? Why only me? The answer is this: because you were not created to live in the shallow. The deeper the calling, the deeper the process must be. You suffered more because you were called to carry more. You lost more because your life cannot lean on anything fragile. You cried more because your tears will become a fountain of comfort for many. There is a spiritual law. Whatever you overcome becomes territory of authority. If you went through the pain of abandonment, you carry authority to heal the abandoned. If you endured the silence of God, you have authority to teach others to wait. If you survived deep losses, you can lift those who are fallen in their own losses. Your wound is not your prison. It is the seal of your calling. It is exactly in the place where you were broken that God will raise you up as a voice of restoration. Now listen carefully, because this is the revelation that changes everything. The deeper your silence was, the more resounding will be the voice of God through you. The tears no one saw were recorded. The nights when you thought you would not make it became an altar. The days when you felt forgotten were exactly the days when heaven was writing the most about you. You thought you were alone. But while you cried, angels guarded every sigh. While you felt rejected, God Himself was covering you under invisible wings. While you thought you were forgotten, He was only hiding you so you would not be destroyed before the appointed time. This is the climax. The silence was not absence. It was hiding. The pain was not punishment. It was preparation. The solitude was not failure. It was separation. Now you can look back and see differently. That relationship that ended, it was not rejection, it was deliverance. That door that closed, it was not failure, it was redirection. The solitude that accompanied you, it was not emptiness, it was school. Everything worked together to form within you a fortress that cannot be torn down. Everything molded a soul that does not bend before the wind. Everything engraved in you the mark of one who was set apart for more. You are not the sum of your losses. You are the living proof that God transforms pain into destiny, silence into voice, desert into garden. You did not suffer in vain. There is a calling written in your story. You are the answer to pains still hidden in others. What you went through will become healing. What you lost will become testimony. The silence you endured will become revelation. The world will look at you and not understand. How could someone who suffered so much rise again? How could someone who was rejected so many times still love? How could someone who cried in silence now speak with authority? And the answer will be, because you are chosen. Now, in light of this revelation, I invite you not only to hear, but to declare. If this message spoke to you, write in the comments, I am chosen. This is not just a phrase. It is a seal in the spiritual realm. It is you confirming your identity before heaven and earth. Subscribe to this channel. Share this message with someone who still does not understand the reason for their pain. For perhaps they too are chosen, but have not yet discovered it. And remember, the forgotten prophecy does not speak of destruction, but of purpose. Silence is not abandonment. It is construction. You are not rejected. You are kept. You are not forgotten. You are set apart. You are chosen.